Coding made easy.
So what's up everybody, and welcome to your next tutorial on your YouTube RPG tutorial series. And in this tutorial we are going to start creating the map. So we have a player, it can walk across a black screen and that's all it can do, and it's cool for a little while, but after a while it gets really boring. There's no world for our player to walk through. And so we're going to be developing this world, and once we develop this world, then we get the way our map is going to set up. So after this tutorial or these next couple tutorials, we'll be able to set up our map editor so we can create and edit maps and then place them in our game so we can create a bunch of different maps for our game. So anyways, what we're going to do is we're going to create three new classes. So map class, a layer class, and a tile class. So just to speak briefly about what each class is going to do. The map class is going to be the current map that you're on. It's going to display the current map you're on. The layer class is going to contain the different layers within that map. So if you've ever used Paint, GIMP, or Photoshop, or Paint.net or GIMP or Photoshop, they have a layering system, and we're gonna be implementing something similar to that. And the tiles are gonna be the different tiles within that particular layer. So now we're gonna be focusing on the layer class, and we're going to be incorporating 3 new namespaces. So the XNA framework, the content, and you guessed it, the graphics. And so the methods we're gonna have are the 4 typical methods. Let's see if you can guess them. We have load content, we have unload content, we have update, and we have draw. So in the load content, what we're going to be taking in is we're going to be taking in a vector 2 called tile dimensions, and the map class is basically going to store the dimensions of each of the tiles in that current map, and then we're going to be passing it to the layer. Normally in your whole game, like normally in a game itself, or whatever, you'll have set tiles for every single map. Every single map will be 32 by 32 pixels and so on and so forth, and that's most likely how our game is going to be. But I've set it this way so that different maps can have different tile dimensions, and so if you have like a map that takes in bigger tiles or something, then you can incorporate that on different maps. So it's really up to you whichever way you want to go. So now what we're going to be doing is doing something we haven't done in this tutorial series yet, and we're going to create a class inside of another class. So I don't know if you guys have ever done anything like that before, but it's pretty cool. And we're going to make a list of strings, and we're going to call it row. And in our tile maps constructor, we're going to say row is equal to new list. So now we're going to create a public tile map called tile map, and that is this class that we created right here. And the reason why we created it inside of our class is that we don't want to really access tile map from other classes. Like we wanna make it so that if you want to access tile map, you have to call layer.tilemap or something like that, and so it's significant to that layer class. And so we have that tile map right there, and we're gonna have a private list of type tile, and we're gonna call it tiles. And that's all we're gonna have for now. If I remember something later, I'll put it in. So what we want to do now is we should create our map XML file, and I guess right here we will right here in our load section, I guess we will make a new folder, or actually, yeah, we'll name it map, but we'll place it in the gameplay folder since the map and stuff is in the gameplay. And we're going to create a new item, a new XML file, and we're going to call it map1. And so map 1 is going to look something like this. So we're going to be loading it in the map class. So we're going to have map, and so on. So we're going to have the tile dimensions of the map. So we'll say tile dimensions x, or whatever size your tiles are going to be, put them in here. Most likely they're either going to be 32 by 32 or 64 by 64. And so we're going to have our layer, and inside of our layer we're going to have our tile map, and inside of our tile map we're going to have the rows. And I'm going to be designing my map something like this. So I'm just going to be saying like 0 0, and I'm just going to copy and paste this. And I'm just going to copy this row, paste it a few times. Or can I do this? Nope, doesn't work. Okay, so this is gonna be our tile map. So this is gonna be a row. So this is how our map is really gonna look like. So it's gonna look like this, these images that we're gonna paste into our map. Now, what do these numbers signify? So this signifies which tile number in our x coordinate we're gonna be cropping out, and this is gonna specify which tile in the y coordinate we're gonna be cropping out. And I just put these little square brackets to signify the difference between these two, and I put the colon to separate each number. And it's up to you how you want to design it. It doesn't really matter how you want to design it, but I'm just showing you the way I'm designing it now, so when we actually go to take out the values, you actually understand how I'm going about that. And so what we're going to be doing is we're going to be storing the row values in this row list right here. And so what we have to do is we have to remove these square brackets, and then get the individual. We have to split it based on this, then get these individual values and store them correctly. So this is how we're going to go about it. So we're going to make a for each, and we'll say a row in tile map dot. Oh, this tile map. That's weird. I'm pretty sure. Yep, I named it tile map. I'll say tile map dot, and that is so weird. I'm not sure why this is not working. Okay, well, I changed this from tile map to tile because I'm guessing because it's the same name, and we have a tile map class inside layer. When I put this tile map, it's thinking I'm creating a class type. So I would say this. I'll say tile.row. So we're going to be looping through the elements in each row, and what we're going to do now is we're going to create a string, and we'll just call it split or something. So you go to row.split, and we're going to split it by the ends like that. And what this is basically saying, it's going to say whenever you see one of these, just split them apart. So it's going to split these into individual strings. And I'm going to say that for each string s in split, and I'm going to say if s not equals string.empty, then we're going to do some stuff with it. Okay, so if it's not an empty string, we've got to we've got to get the different values from it. So what we're going to do now is we're going to say s is equal to s.remove, or we'll say s.replace, and we're going to replace this with string.empty. And so it's going to, and I probably should put it in double quotes, or else it's not going to work, because you can't, and it's not going to work because it's a for each iteration loop variable. So we'll just make another string, and we'll just call it str. And str is equal to s.replace, and we're going to replace this. I'm not sure if we make a call to s.replace, I don't know if it's really going to replace it like so. So we'll just keep it. I don't know if it's going to make a copy of it or if it's actually going to actually replace it. I'd have to look more into that. I don't really remember that. So yeah, with that being said, we've gotten that set up. So our string should look like this right now. So when we crop out this one, our string's going to just look like this with the 0, the colon, and another 0. So what we need to do is get the individual integer type value. So we're going to just say int value 1. And int value 1 is going to be, I guess we're going to get the, let's say int dot parse, and we'll get the substring, and starting in this is going to be 0, and the length is going to be from we should get it from string, sorry, str. So the length is going to be str index of, and the value we're looking for is the colon. So that's going to be the length from 0 to wherever that value is. And for the second value, value 2, we're going to say int parse, and we're going to say the substring of, and we'll get the index of this, and we're going to say +1. So everything beyond that. And so that's going to get us the first value and the second value. So what we want to do is we actually want to test this out just to see if this actually works, and then we can continue with the rest of the program. So let me just take how much time we have. Okay, so we're going to, in our map class, we're going to have a public list of layers. And we'll just call it layer. And we're going to have to include the framework. Let's include the content. So we're going to have a list of layers, and we're going to take a vector 2 of tile dimensions. So we're going to have our load content, unload content, update, and last but not least, we're going to have our draw. So we have all these 4, and we're gonna just make a constructor, and just to set a default value for these, just in case something goes wrong. It's always good to let me say vector20. It's always good to set a default value for something, just in case something goes wrong, an error happens, or it doesn't load in properly, your whole program doesn't crash. It might not run as corrected, but if your program crashes, that's the worst. So what we're going to be doing is, when we call load content, we'll say layer is equal to, and we gotta have our XML manager. So we'll say layer loader, and we're gonna say layer is equal to layer loader, or actually, that's not gonna be the case. We don't even need that. Sorry, we don't even need that because we load that from our map. So sorry for that. We don't even need that. So what we're going to just do is we're going to loop through each layer. So L in layer, and we'll say L.load content. So we'll load all the content. Same for unload. And for update and draw, we don't have anything yet, but we will. And draw, we're going to be doing something a little bit special in draw, but we'll do that later. Okay, so we have and load content, we have to pass in the tile dimensions. So we'll pass in tile dimensions, capital T. and that should load and everything correctly. So now what we're gonna do is we're gonna go to our gameplay screen now. And where's our gameplay screen? Where are you? Okay, so there's our gameplay screen. We're going to make an instance of map, and we're going to make an XML manager to load our map. And so we're going to say map is equal to map loader dot load, and the path to our math is gameplay map, and should be maps, and I'll say map1.xml. So I'll change this folder name to maps. It's up to you whatever one you want to change. If you want to keep it the way it is, but whatever. And I'm going to call map.load content. Now, although we really don't have anything in update and unload content and all that stuff, you're going to, it doesn't matter, you're probably going to want to update your map after the player, but draw the map before the player. Now, why do I say do it this way? The reason being is that some map elements are affected based on the way the player moves. And so you want to get the player movement first. For example, if you want to do map-based collision, tile-based collision, when the player moves, then you'll check to see if the player has hit a tile and map update or something like that. And you want to draw the map first so the map is not drawn on top of the player. We don't have any of these things set yet. What we want to just check is if our load content is loading and everything correctly. So if everything goes smoothly, we should be getting in around this loop right here. And we're going to put a breakpoint there to check if the values are correct. So let's get through this. And it didn't load anything, so it didn't even go through this section right here. So let's see if it's actually loading the content. And what we're going to do is we're going to go to our screen manager, and I'm going to set it so that it shows our gameplay screen. And right by default, it sets it that we load it from a XML file, that splash screen.xml, but we don't really care about that right now. So get rid of this, or you know what, we just need to get rid of this. And so we'll see our gameplay screen right away, and therefore we don't have to go through all the menus and such. So as you can see, our gameplay is running and everything seems to be running smoothly, but our map doesn't seem to be doing anything. So let's try this out. And I probably did something really stupid. So our map load content is working. It's running this, but it has nothing in our layer class. Okay, so nothing's there. So let's check our map1.xml. We have a layer class in there, and just let me check something quickly. So everything seems to, it should be working properly. So give me 1 second to check out to see what's going on. Okay, so I figured out the problem. So there's a few things that I did that were wrong. And firstly, in the layer class, we want to use system.xml.serialization, and we want to set the XML element to tile map. Because in our map1.xml, we specified as tile map in here, so we want to let it know that that's what we're looking for. And let's go back to our map class. Wait, something just occurred to me, which actually, never mind. Okay, so in here we're going to say using system.xml.serialization in our map class. Now, because this is a list, it won't load it automatically like so. We're gonna have to say XML element, and we're gonna put layer. And once you do that, it should recognize our layer. And if we run this, now it actually gets into our loop. So the problem now is that our row count is set to 0, so it's not actually taking in the rows, and so it's not actually going to run the loop. So we got to see what's going on with that. So the problem is, as I said again, because it's a list, we have to put XML element, put row, and let's run this one more time. And yeah, we forgot to put the breakpoints. Put the breakpoint in there, and it actually gets in there. So we have a value for row, and we have our count as 9 for the count of it. So what we want to do is set a breakpoint down here, and we just want to see if we get the correct value. So we get the value 0 for the first one, and we get the value 0 for number 2. So that means we're getting the values correct, and that's going to specify which part of the map that we should crop out and which tile on the map we should draw. So anyways, I'm going to end this tutorial here because there's a lot I need to talk about to further continue this tutorial. So we're going to end it here. In the next tutorial, we're actually going to create a little miniature tile map, and then we're going to load it in, and hopefully we'll get to draw it. So thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed this. Don't forget to comment, rate, and subscribe, and bye for now.